and welcome into the post-game reaction wrap-up show, whatever you want to call it. Whatever, reacting to whatever the hell that was. A week one disaster. As the Giants dropped 28-6 in the home opener of the, look, this was the century game. This was the 100th anniversary. Every legend that could make it was present. You're honoring a history of a four cornerstone franchise. And not to overreact, but that's what this is about. We're going to overreact. But this was about as much of a must-win first game as you could possibly get. I know there's no such thing as a must-win game in the first game of the year, but for many reasons, this was a must-win game, in my opinion. Number one, obviously you want to set the tone for the season. You got to start off with an NFC opponent. You got the Vikings coming in with Sam Darnold. On paper, how does this not a win for the Giants? Most people penciled this in as a win. Even if you thought the Giants were going to be a 5-6 win team, this was one of those games you probably penciled in that they would win. And instead, it wasn't as bad as last year's week one. Obviously, that was a nightmare that we'll probably never stop talking about because it was just monumentally bad. But this was a different level of just nonsense, of bullshit. We've now seen 3 years of an offense that cannot stay on the field. And get to it right now, Jones was awful. Jones was bad. I wanted nothing more than for this kid to come out with all the scrutiny, with all of the bullshit surrounding him, and all of the nonsense around the Giants, to come out today and just ball, put his nuts on the table and ball out. And instead, look, the complete opposite happened. You're watching, there's inexcusable plays. There's, the 2 interceptions. The one was so quick that, I didn't even know what happened. I don't even think Jones knows what happened. And it's inexcusable. The line was there. There was protection up front. But we know the writing's on the wall. Jones, it's up to this kid to make everybody know he's the guy. And he's done every bit of it that he can to make sure that nobody believes it. Best set of weapons he's had. Best offensive line that he's had. And was just unable to get the offense rolling at all today. Just have any life. We've now seen it for the last few years with this offense. Not saying his whole career. I'm saying not even Jones. I'm talking about the offense in general. There's no life. Even with Dable taking over the play calling, it's the same bullshit. There's no rhythm. Nobody's in sync. And Jones deserves everything today that he's going to get. Because you can't play that bad with that much scrutiny. He had to come out and be, even 50% of that. But he looked worse. The Giants looked worse. And nobody's talking about it today because everybody's going to talk about Jones. But how does a guy that wins the Coach of the Year in his rookie season repeatedly have a team that is not ready to play? I see it time and time again, and it doesn't matter if they're playing up, playing down. It doesn't matter if it's the week one. The start of the year, where there was no major scratches today. This was a healthy Giants team. And they came out and they looked like shit. And Flores out all day, out coaching that matchup on defense. Just at a total embarrassment, top to bottom. My heart ached. I felt terrible for the fans. I'm looking at the fans in the crowd. What a beautiful sight. A sellout on a 100th anniversary. Generations of Giants fans packing the house, young and old, paying hundreds of dollars to be there. By the time they left. And what do they got to show for it? What did they get? Did you get a towel? Did you get a cup? And going home with leaving the same way, as always. looking for a sign of life from this team. And that's why I said it wasn't a must-win, in the normal sense, but as close to a must-win as you can get, because you had to come out swinging, show the season that you're going to stay. These first 4 games were crucial, the first month of the season. The way the season ended last year with so many question marks around you, and then, going back to last year's opening game, the way you came out completely flat and looked like that for the majority of the season. And so now fans are worried. Fans are looking around. This looks a lot like the same old shit. That's what they're going to say. And be hard-pressed now not to say, yeah, it's one game. And it is one game. But we didn't look ready. This team didn't look ready. This team looked like they needed another month of training camp. And we said the same thing last year. I'm so pissed that this opportunity was thrown away today. Not just because of the century shit and all this other, this hoopla that goes around that's got nothing to do with it. This should have been a Giants team that showed some kind of improvement today, and they looked like they took 2 fucking steps backwards. And try not to overreact. We're not going to do that because it is one game. But you have to acknowledge it. This team looked like shit. Daniel Jones looked like shit. The defense, is that the most expensive pass rush right now in the NFL? It sure as hell seems like it. Where were they? Nobody getting to the quarterback. Sam Darnold carved them up. Carved up the defense today. The guy that ran out of this stadium as a Jet because he saw ghosts and heard ghosts. Looked like he wasn't scared of the paranormal today. Looked like Tom Brady, an all-pro out there, carving the Giants up and down the field. A 99-yard drive from Sam Darnold. Laughable. Laughable. Defense, the defense played like shit. There were some bright spots from Tyler Nubin. I didn't even want to go over the bright spots, the rookies and all that, all other nonsense. Nobody deserves any credit. We don't want to do that today. This was one of those games where you just, you're just there. You're just there. It was a team playing. The other team wasn't present. And even if you're so optimistic about this team like I am, you see the writing on the wall. You fear that your biggest fear, my biggest fear, is that this is contagious. Now you have something that the Giants really needed, a positive drive. They needed some kind of spark, some kind of big play. Even if they were going to lose this game with everything crumbling around them, and they just didn't get it. They didn't get any of that momentum. And they let everybody know that all of that stuff that was hanging over our head, all the things you said that we couldn't do, that we didn't fix, looks like we got a lot of work to do. That was the message week 1. That was, you come out 28-6, and one of the few games that even your biggest critics think you could win, and you come out and you look like that. That is pathetic. They almost gave up 100 yards in penalties. I mean, you want to talk about being out-coached, out everything. Everything, on every level. So although in the media, online, on talk shows tomorrow morning in the New York area, Jones is going to get torn apart. Beard or not, I don't care how big the beard is, you can't play like that. No amount of facial hair is going to save him from what's coming. And he deserves every bit of it. But he shouldn't be the only one, and he better not be the only one. It's up to Daniel Jones in the next, and I'm not even talking about the end of the year, it's up to Daniel Jones in the next few games to figure out if he wants to keep that position, if he wants to keep QB1. What do you do if the Giants drop every game in the first month of the season and play like that and look like that? You hang on to it just because you spent all the money? I'm not. That's not my wish. But now this team and Daniel Jones and Brian Dable's got the task to do it. They got to put this thing behind them real quick. Real quick. You got to turn around next week, go into Washington, and play the Commanders. And you're in a divisional game now. You're not going to have time to even think about, what we're going to do going forward. You got to immediately get ready for the Commanders, who, as of this recording this right now, are getting their ass whipped in Tampa Bay right now in a blowout. So that could be two teams coming off both L's looking for a win. Already 0-1 in the division. You got to chase Dallas and Philly. Dallas running away with their game right now in Cleveland. So there it is. I mean, you got Philly and you got Dallas and you got the Giants and Washington looking up, as always. So I'm just pissed off right now. There's nothing you can say right now. Watching the game, I'll rewatch the game. We're all going to sit here and just be miserable for the next few days, because this was the start of a season that we didn't want. And we wanted to see anything but this today. But here we are again on another opening day, the 100th opening day, and got blown out at home by Sam Darnold. This is hard to swallow. It's irritating. It really is. I'm going to eat a lot of shit. I'm going to eat a lot of shit online because you can't drop hype videos and talk all that shit. I'm used to it. 13 years in the game. It's not going to be any different for me. But I'm just pissed. I'm really pissed at this team. I'm really pissed at this head coach. I'm really pissed at this quarterback. And I'm really pissed at a lot of guys that are paid really well. Just didn't seem to be prepared and didn't match the effort again. And on opening day, it's inexcusable. It's bullshit. There's no, even if you're the most positive Giants fan, there's no spin. There's absolutely no spin on this game. So there we are. We're 0-1. We got to turn around real quickly. And a division that can get away from us real quick. And a season that can get away from us real quick. Whatever happens next week, if the Giants look like this again against the Commanders team, I'm open for any changes at that point, because the ship's sinking quick. You can't drop 0-2. So here we are again in another 0-2. Looking at another 0-2 situation as the Giants go into week 2 with a must-win game. Really pissed. Really fucking pissed that this season is already off to the start that it is. But it's a long season. Try not to get your head too far into the ground right now. It is week 1. Nobody today is likely going to be who they are in week 18. But we sure as hell look like we do a lot lately. And that's going to be the tough pill to swallow as we try to get through this week. And it's going to be a long week before we get to Washington. Washington's always been a nice game, a get-back game for the Giants. And it's always been the team that Daniel Jones does his best in. So that's the recipe right there. That's your best-case scenario. Your chicken noodle soup if you're sick. Here come the Washington Commanders. Bring on the Redskins if you got a temperature. But everybody right now let this team down. They let this fan base down, and they played like shit. Everybody. Nobody just right now deserves any credit. But we're going to take this L. We'll be here all week. I'll be here all week on all the socials. More content dropping this week. I really don't have much to give you for a reaction video. That game was one of those games where the reactions are taken right out of you. The life is taken out of you quick. So really no reason to punish people with that one. We have to move on. We have to move forward. And my task and my responsibility is to find the right words to say to a base that right now has been punched in the gut on a day that should have been full of celebration and honoring the history and the legacy of this franchise. And it should have been a feel-good day today. But it's the same old bullshit. So with that, you guys know where to find me. I'm all everywhere. Mr. Chuck Knoxx, YouTube, and of course Facebook. And Chuck Knoxx on Instagram and Twitter. I'll be there all week. You can find these shows wherever you get your podcasts. So until then, hopefully something better to talk about next week. But right now, I'm taking a giant fucking L on the Century Day. An embarrassing day for this franchise. Till then, Giants fans, keep your head up.